Hey everyone, it's Clemmy Clue again, and today I'm going to be reading an audiobook. It's called The Silent Kingdom, and it's by Frieden the Eternal. I'll put the link for this book below, and it's from www.fanfiction.net. Alright, so let's start off. The Legend of Zelda, The Silent Kingdom, by Frieden the Eternal. Prologue. A new ending. It was finally over. That thought echoed across Link's mind as his fur withdrew into his skin, as he felt his snout receding into his face. The transformation only lasted a second, but he could still feel every change that occurred within his body, from the shifting of his bones to the startling change of his heart rate. Now, maybe, he'd never have to be changed again. The massive bulk of the dark beast, Ganon, lay before him, glowing white fluid dripping from the scar tissue across its gut, splashing onto the floor of the throne room in drops as large as a human head. The fluid formed into a puddle, the glow dying away, turning into a black, oozing ichor. Then the beast's body began to dissolve, dissipating in black smoke, which dispersed through the air, fading to nothing. It took several minutes for that gigantic beast to disappear completely, and in a moment, all that was left was the black stain of blood on the floor. Link turned to smile at Midna, the imp princess of the Twilight Realm, who had been his constant companion since this journey began. She turned her head, returning a small smile. No words needed to be said. Their quest was finally over. The Twilight Realm and Hyrule were safe at last. Then Link saw it. Infinitesimal flecks of golden light floating off Midna's body. His expression must have shown his surprise because her smile vanished and her eyes darted across herself. As they watched, the lights, hundreds of them, floated through the air to the still form of Princess Zelda, who lay limply in the throne. The lights poured onto her body, and color returned to her face, the corpse-gray pallor fading into a much healthier tone. The moment the last small light touched her, her eyes flickered open. She rose slowly from her seat, her gaze quickly scanning the scene, her gaze drifting across the small tears in Link's tunic and the red strips through the cut chainmail beneath. She noted the large black stain on the floor, and her eyes finally came to rest upon Midna. Midna began, but Zelda raised on hand for silence. No words are necessary, Midna, Princess of Twilight. Zelda's voice was soft, and in the large, empty throne room had an otherworldly echo about it, as though it were a goddess speaking. If only for a short time, our hearts were as one. I saw the events through your eyes, and I know that you have suffered more than any other for this victory. She stepped toward the imp, her footsteps echoing loudly in the empty hall. Midna's gaze fell to the floor, as though she were afraid to meet the prince's gaze. Zelda reached out one hand and gently lifted Midna's chin. A single tear rolled down Zelda's left cheek. I am afraid the curse upon you is beyond my power to break. But I owe you a great debt. I will do everything in my power to find a way to help you. No, I didn't do all that much, Midna said. Link did most of it himself. I was just along for the ride. Zelda turned her gaze to Link. And you, hero and wielder of the sword of evil's bane, I owe you a great debt as well. Name your desire, and if it is within my power, I shall grant it. Link shook his head. I just want it to end. I don't want any more bloodshed. Then know that it shall never come to be, boomed a massive voice within the hall. Link felt as though his eardrums were about to burst. The three turned, and in the very air before them, fire burst into life. Flames floating on nothing grew, swirling in a mesmerizing spiral, finally coalescing into a 15-foot image of a face, the face of Ganondorf. Link's sword was in his hand in a flash. "Damn it," he said. "What does it take to make you stay down?" The great mouth moved, laughter echoing through the hall. "You truly do not know what you are up against, do you?" the face said, laughing again. "Yes, you do not even know what that in your hand truly is, or what it stands for. You've just stumbled forward blindly, believing you were the chosen of some deity, and their blessing gave you the power needed to smite evil from this world." Ganondorf's voice was practically dripping with sarcasm. "And now, here you stand. Evil is before you. No one can come to help you now. What are you going to do?" "Well, for starters," Link said, gripping the Master Sword tight enough to turn his knuckles white, "I'm going to kill the windy jerk, then I'm going to take a nap." "No," Midna thought, terror gripping her heart. "This has gone too far. He's too strong for you, Link. He'll kill you." The 3 few shadows in her possession appeared as she summoned her power. "I know what I have to do now. I won't allow anyone else to die. I won't allow it." Link saw it coming. He knew why she had summoned the few shadows. Realizing instantly what Midna planned to do, he leapt for her. Screaming for her to stop, he tried to reach her, tried to disrupt her concentration, so that the spell would fail. He was only a few feet away. He should have reached her. His feet had left the floor. He was flying through the air. Everything seemed to be moving in slow motion. He saw her turn to him. He saw her smile. A sad, lonely smile that made Link feel as though his heart would tear itself from his chest in sorrow. Then his body broke apart. His arms shattered into small black squares, spiraling upward into the air. His shoulders and chest were the next to go. Then he was blinded as his head shattered into pieces. Link found himself lying on grass. He stood up, scanning the horizon to find his location quickly. If she hadn't sent him far, he might still be able to get back. The castle stood silhouetted against the sun, about halfway down the western sky. Damn. It was nearly a full day's walk back from here. He'd never make it. He jumped when a hand touched his shoulder, grabbing for his sword. It was Zelda who had touched him. She gave his shoulder a soft squeeze, shaking her head sadly. Link turned back to the castle just in time to see an eruption of flame all about it. The great fire spiraled upward, mixed with dust and brick. A moment later, the ground began to shake, and the castle slowly collapsed upon itself. Then Link saw him. Before the rumbling head had even subsided, Link saw the midnight black horse across the field from him. Seated in the saddle was the man who had caused all the suffering he'd borne witness to. Ganondorf had resumed his human form, his jet-black breastplate split in the center, a soft white glow emanating from within, and fully interlocked plates over both his arms and legs. The stallion reared onto its hind legs, letting out a cry that sounded more like a demon than a horse, and Ganondorf held one hand high, and Link could see the dark shape against the sun. It was Midna's mask. No, Link breathed, his heart aching. It couldn't have been more painful if he'd been stabbed. He had never seen Midna without the mask, but he understood it was one of the 4 few shadows. When combined, the shadows made a helmet that transformed Midna into a mighty creature of nigh unstoppable power. And this man had taken her. Ganondorf dropped the mask to the ground. It broke apart and crumbled into pieces as it fell. Link's eyes followed it to the ground where the pieces rolled down the grassy hill, then stopped still. Ganondorf waved his arm and 4 images appeared about him. They seemed to be ghosts of some obscure creature, mounted on beasts that defied the imagination. With a cry of victory, Ganondorf drew his sword and charged. Alright, I'm going to leave off here today. I'm going to see what kind of response I get. If you liked my reading, like it. And if you want to subscribe, hey, subscribe. I'm not going to stop you. Alright, so again, just so that we're clear, if you like it, give it a like. If I get enough likes and I get enough views, I'll make another one. And I'll even reread this part, fix any stutters, make it, really polished and nice. Alright, guys. Stay frosty, chilly, and cool. This is Claiming Clue out.